and share my screen. Once again, we are in the final stages of our journey together. And module 15, week 15. Woohoo, almost done. All right. So just looking at the grades, and everyone's, for the most part, doing pretty well. There's a few of you that are, I would much rather have, earn a C, but the project is worth 40 points and the final is worth 100 points. So yeah. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Let me shrink this down, and let me make sure you all can hear me, right? Everyone can hear me ramble on. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, here we are, module 15. I will post a recording. I don't really even have a lecture. Usually I just review. The first section in here is this final project overview. Please watch this. I'm not going to play it now, but it will reiterate the things that I'm going to tell you this evening. If you forget or you're lost, you feel like I don't know what he said, just go ahead and review that overview video. It talks about what my expectations are. It's not really a big deal, but I do want you to follow. This is mostly about following instructions and using the resources that I provide for you in several iterations to do this project. And yes, you're not going to, I used to have everyone actually create a database. And with Oracle and the new instances and the configuration, I'm mostly wanting you to create these tables that will emulate a movie rental, business. And although we all know that's kind of passé and outdated, I'm going to have a different project starting next semester. But basically, you're building the tables that essentially will follow this when you go to like this rental store or order a rental, and we can even call it a digital version. Then these are the tables that are updated, et cetera, et cetera. So here's kind of an outline. The first link is an outline of the tables. You're going to create you always drop the tables. Customers table, going to create a customers table, a movies table, a media table, rental history, actors, star billing, and then you're going to create some sequences, media ID, title ID, customer ID. You're going to use these sequences, and hopefully you remember what those are. Basically, you use those to create or modify data in your tables, and you're going to alter one of the sequences, and then you're going to update tables, and you're going to insert customers. There's some test customers, and you can also insert yourself as a customer. You're going to insert movies. You're going to insert types of media. You're going to insert rental history. You're basically building the history for this rental business database. So that's the outline. Please just you can scan through that to make sure you have the context of what I'd like for you to accomplish within this little Oracle Flix. Yeah, this came out of Oracle. It's kind of emulating the whole idea of Netflix, but this is a rental. I don't know if many of you have been around during the whole rental movie phase before the streaming services became more prominent. And the streaming services are even more prominent than the movie theaters, believe it or not. But anyway, I digress. So this next link actually comes from Oracle that will give you once again, all of the detailed information for the process. Every single query is actually in this document. So you have all the tables you're going to create, the sequences you're going to create, and then some test data. There's some test customers. Yes, I do want you to add yourself as a customer, and then movies. And if you're feeling like an overachiever, you can add some movies that you know of, following the criteria here: title, description, rating, category, release date. Oh, you can really be an overachiever and find a release date. And you see some of these movies. Remember the Titans is quite an old movie with Denzel, but and then there's a media table, rental history. So yes, this is the data that you're going to create for this little scenario. And once again, you're creating a database per se, but all that you're actually performing in SQL Developer, yes, please perform it in SQL Developer, because I do want you to send screenshots to validate that you have finished this whole project. Okay. Right. So that's essentially all the queries that you need. So if you run all of these successfully and then add yourself as a customer, including you can, even add some more. All that's required, let me state this, and you can recall this in the video, all that's required is to create the tables, create the other objects, sequences, insert the data, and then display all that, basically provide to me a screenshot that this has been created. And I'm going to show you what I'm expecting. I didn't run this myself, but I'm the deliverable for this project are basically screenshots from developer showcasing that. Let me check the attendance here, make sure I haven't forgotten anyone. Yeah. All right, while I'm checking attendance, does anyone have any questions about what's expected for the project? Now is the time to ask. It's pretty straightforward, no big mystery. It's not some big undertaking, but I do want you to create the tables. Let me bring up the SQL developer here. And where is it? Where is the SQL developer? There it is. All right, I'm going to bring that up and just give you an idea while that's coming up. All right, so that's the project. And hearing no questions, I'll move ahead. Here's the actual portal where you submit. There's other resources in here. There's an entity relationship diagram as far as the table. There's the whole idea, Oracle Flix overview. You can review all of this, but essentially what I'm looking for as far as the content are these objects that you're going to, and I don't think you need to create synonyms, but if you follow, basically, if you follow the queries that are housed in this PDF document, you successfully build all that, yeah, I guess you do have to create one synonym. And you do create an index, etc. Yeah, so everything in here you will run in SQL Developer. Okay. And that's the project. And you submit, I'm expecting screenshots of each component of the project, from the tables to, well, basically constraints like primary key and all that. You'll see that in a document. And it does go through a view, sequences, and then adding data, creating indexes, synonyms, and then testing. The testing of the database is essentially running a select statement, running a select statement, or let's say you're renting you as a user renting a movie, then how would you add that data to those tables to represent you renting a specific movie? That's called testing the database. Now, I'm not going to be very a stickler about what you submit, um, as long as you do some testing to make sure the tables they have their referential integrity. There's their relationship, like movie, customer ID, and you'll see the detailed table. And to me, as long as you can test that data to make sure you can update the tables, and generally just for, for all practical purposes, you have some type of form or some type of automation in there where you're not actually manually inputting data. But what I'm going to have you do is just, essentially input some specifics as far as the data, and that's the testing phase. All right. So I'm going to stop share for a second here and just give you, once again, some context around what I'm expecting as far as deliverables. So let me reshare. I'm going to share the developer. So yes, please use the developer environment for your creation of your little Oracle Flix model. So I'm pretty sure you're all accustomed to running queries in Oracle Developer. So the first thing that I want you, once you've created the tables, I do want you to, there's no reason not to just copy and paste those queries in there, but I do want you to expand the ORCL database itself and just show me that those tables have been added. So you can simply expand the tables and then highlight the spot where they're added. I don't have them on this particular instance, but that's fine. Or if you want to be an overachiever, you can click on. You all know you can click on the table and showcase the table structure and take a screenshot of that. But primarily, if you don't do that, if you show me the table exists and I can see things like the data type and if it's null, yeah. And essentially you can show all the constraints, everything about that table, just by double clicking. Hopefully, you know that this is available to you on Oracle Developer. Mine is taking a little bit long. You can actually even showcase the data within the table, all by opening up the table by double clicking on it. Columns, we didn't constraints, even dependencies, but we didn't go in, even indexes. You can show that if it's available on that table object. So that's just to give you an idea how you can use SQL Developer to showcase all of the information that you need to show within the project. All right. Okay, so last chance. Any questions about the project? Pretty straightforward, shouldn't present a problem. Just make sure you go through all of the queries that's on that's within that PDF document. All right. All right. And everything is due Friday. Keep that in mind. Friday the 19th is the actual last day of the class of the semester. I usually have all the grades posted by the end of the weekend, so I usually dig in right away on Saturday because I have several classes that I'm teaching ending. Well, all the GCU classes ended last week, but I have two more classes, two from Chandler Gilbert and then one other institution that I'm teaching for. They all end on the 19th, which is you want to get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about bothering your Christmas. Okay, now let's segue right into the final exam. and we will preview a couple of the questions. But there is a study guide, and I would strongly recommend you download the study guide and print it, or if you can print it or write on it. Um, all of the bolded items are definitely in the exam. The other bulleted items, there's probably some of those in the exams, but they're pretty straightforward. The bolded items are the ones that are definitely on, on this a question on the exam. All right. And that's a document in Canvas. Um, and yes, definitely go back to all those practices that you perform, review those, but don't overthink them. Definitely review the quizzes. I do stress that because in many instances, a question will be, and I've done that several times, pull right from the quiz and put in the final. We didn't have a lot of in-class activities, but uh, if you were if you felt like you were a little bit weak on an area, um, yes, check the quiz, check the assignments to strengthen your understanding of a particular area. So download, print the study guide. That will definitely help you. All right, then the final itself, it is open now. I opened it at 12 a.m. this morning. So, and the parameters around the final, it's a 2 hour exam, meaning once you start it, you have 2 hours to finish it. You cannot start it and close it and then come back to it. That's ending your attempt, and that's what your score will reflect. It does require Respondus Lockdown browser, so you can't not have anything else running. And you must complete it by midnight on Friday. And that's Friday of this week, not Sunday. It's Friday. Um, so, and I like to usually preview the first question. All right, so which of the following would create a primary key constant on an existing table? So the table is coarse. So your choices are primary key constant cannot be added to an existing table, or constraint, excuse me, I'm saying constant. All right, let me start over. Which of the following would create a primary key constraint on an existing table that's named coarse? Modified table, coarse, add constraint, alter table, coarse, add constraint, coarse, and that's your constraint name, primary key. So which one of those do you think is the correct answer? And Diana says C. Does everyone agree? Alter table, coarse, add constraint, coarse, CID, constraint, primary key. Okay, why not D? Well, that would essentially be, and what's the difference between C and D? So that's kind of tricky. And you need to have a column. That's the difference between C and D. So we're assuming, based on the name here, that CID is your column that you're going to set to be a primary key. So the correct answer would be D. All right. So let's verify that, because sometimes, let's stop the preview and go into our edit mode. Just to make sure. All right. So if you edit this and you see the correct answer is D, because we have this column here, okay? So make sure you read the questions complete and the responses completely. That's usually the key here. And yes, there are, what did I say? I think there's only 50 questions, not 100. Yes, 50 questions, 2 points each. So that's plenty of time, 50 questions, 2 hours. So let's go to the last question. Because by the time you get to the last question, you just want it to be over, right? So which of the following queries produce this result? So we have manager ID, job ID, and average salary. And let's take a look at the queries. Oh, I don't want to give you the answer first. Let's stop the edit. If we get this, I'm going to cancel out of the edit. Go back to the preview. Go to the last question. All right, so which of these queries, take a look, you see the table, the result table, right? Those are the 3 columns, that's a key. And we have a group function. All right, so select manager ID, job ID, average salary. Oh, that's good so far. From employees where job ID like A. Well, we have some of these, we have something else going on here, right? So if you remember, that's probably has some type of cube or roll up in it, right? Oh, here we go. Group by cube, group by roll up. You probably don't remember any of that stuff. So this looks like, what does this look like? A cube or a roll up? Who remembers that? Anyone? So we know the job ID is A, like A, and that's in all of them from employees. All right. So who wants to, wait, someone responded. Diana says roll up. So we're going to assume that's a roll up. So if it's a roll up, is it B or D? And what is this value down here? All right, we're going to, oh, the grand total, okay? If that's the grand total, which 13,783, it doesn't look like a grand total to me. Well, these are average salary. Is that the total of the average salary? I don't know, I'm very confused. All right, let's run this query. Let's run B and see what it produces. Yeah, I have to share my whole screen here so you can see everything. Hold on. Share. All right. So we're going to go back to our query, throw that in there. And what result do we get there? That looks pretty close, right? Does that look like this? Yep. So the correct, well, manager ID, job ID, average salary, and it's a roll up. Now, what's the difference between B and D? Who can tell me? Right quick. We're grouping by manager ID and job ID to get the averages. All right. Just so you see, let's run this one because we're not sure. Although you can't do this while you're taking the final, but let's see what happens when we run this one. That one gives you an error because we have a group by and we're not including, remember one of the rules of group by, we're missing one of the columns. Even with the roll up, so that's not a group function. So the correct answer is B or 2. All right. So once again, I usually give 2 of the questions from the final. So as far as what we have left, a week to take care of the project. Now you only have 48 questions. And they're not too bad. You will have to read them carefully. You do have time. I mean, it's 2 hours, 25 questions an hour. That's nothing, basically 2 minutes a question or a little more. But it has been a pleasure having you all in class. I appreciate the hard work. If you have any questions for me or comments, you can send me a Canvas message. I will respond. Um, I don't think I'll give you all the answers to the questions, but more than the 2 that I've given you. But you guys have been a very good class, even though I haven't seen your faces at all, except for Diana. Um, so so I will give you one last chance to show your face on cam so I can remember who you are before in case I run into you on campus, because I think I'm going to teach on campus one class next semester or in the fall. But that's all right if you don't want to. Just to say hi, that you're real people, not just a wall of names on Jeopardy, but thank you all for your hard work. And you may see me in another class. I'm teaching more at Chandler Gilbert because I'm tired of the university. No, no, but I never know. But take care and please have happy holidays. Get the work out of the way, and then you can enjoy, sit back and relax, and just wait for me to finish your grade. No, usually I'm pretty quick with that, but thanks for a great semester. It's been a very good 15 weeks, and good job, everyone. Um, you learned something very important, believe it or not. You may not think SQL is important. It's more important than you think. And we're learning that more and more as data is becoming more and more important. Um, and the access and the management of that data comes through this little scripting language that will persist to who knows when. So yeah, I thought 40 years ago, or at least 30 years ago, SQL will go away. We're just going to use programming languages, but nope, here we are. All right. So happy holidays. Get the work done, and maybe I'll see you all later. Please take care.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Have a safe trip back to Arizona
Yeah.
too.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Take
Happy
care.
holidays.
Yeah.